Well, it's the tale of the two M's. How's it going, everyone? Sean here on the Gentry Homestead. This will be my first video on the Gentry Homestead channel. So make sure you like, subscribe, do all that other stuff that every other YouTuber says to do. And yes, what you're looking at is a pair of Farmall M's. One is a 1943, one is a 1946. And these are both obviously M's. So why do I have two now instead of just the one? These are both going to get used, one obviously more than the other. But it's kind of a long story. So if you're not interested in long stories, then well, it's best if you just skip ahead to the next video, because this is going to be a long story. By the way, it is windy, it is cloudy, it is still March, and while spring is technically, I think, here tomorrow, or today, I don't even know what day it is, it doesn't matter, because we don't really start really warming up until the middle of April to the end of April, when we can actually be outside and enjoy it. Even though yesterday was a nice 55-degree and sunny day, that doesn't matter, because, well, that's just the way it is. Just like on the flip side, fall, we'll have some nice days and we'll have some cold days. There's even days right in through the end of October that are nice in the 50s and 60s, and then winter hits. But anyways, enough about the weather. These two tractors here are a very critical part of our homesteading. Now, over the past, I'd say 2-3 years, homesteading seems to have taken off. You go to YouTube, yes, there's been homesteaders around since, well, forever, but it's really taken off over the past 2-3 years. The start of COVID made a lot of people move away from the cities, suburbs, all the way out into the country. Self-sustaining, homesteading, whatever you want to call it, is in right now. So there's about 1,000,001 channels on YouTube about homesteading. Those that have been around a lot longer have a lot of followers. And, you know, the idea behind these homesteading videos isn't so that we can monetize it and make a bunch of money on YouTube for it. It's just to share our journey and our experience. We are still learning, because we are technically new to it as well. We've only been doing it for a few years. So we're right in there with everyone else who has moved out to the country and wants to start a little farm or just a big garden or something else like that. And tractors like this definitely go a long way to ensuring that you can do those things. Yes, of course, you can get a horse. Yes, of course, you can do it by hand. Yes, I get it. But having something like this makes things a whole heck of a lot easier. And so anyway, here we are, homesteading like everyone else who wants to be the best homesteader on YouTube. And we are expanding our homestead to not just the big garden, but also alfalfa. So we have about 10 acres of alfalfa that we are going to be planting this year. 10 acres isn't that much compared to the capabilities of these two tractors, but still, 10 acres is quite a bit. And, you know, we could probably get away with getting like an H or maybe even a C. That is a Farmall C or Farmall H. But I already had the M. I'm very familiar with them, and went ahead and decided that it would be best to stick with the M. So the story behind this tractor here, this new one that we have here, it's funny because I have been looking for something that this tractor already has for quite a while that I was going to add to this tractor here. Now, the reason is because, well, let's take a look. That right there. That is a 3-point. It is an aftermarket 3-point with an aftermarket cylinder. And as far as one of my friends had told me, it's unusual to have a 3-point that is both down power and up power. But anyways, here it is, aftermarket 3-point. And this was the main reason that we got this tractor. So I ended up selling my Jeep. I sold it real fast. I put it up for sale, I think, on a Friday, and by Monday it was gone. It sold really fast. I probably priced it a little bit too low. It was my dad's Jeep. He passed, and I decided to go ahead and sell it so that we could get something like a 3-point that I could just slap on that tractor, and then we would be able to use 3-point implements. You wouldn't think the 3-point implement would be that important, but it seems like in farming, everything runs on a 3-point. So having a 3-point was going to be critical. A 3-point log splitter, 3-point auger. You can get mowers. I mean, there's hundreds of attachments on a 3-point that you can't just get on a tractor that doesn't have a 3-point. So having the 3-point was something that I really wanted on that tractor. So basically selling the Jeep to get the 3-point so that we could expand on our independence. Right now, I have a very good friend of mine who's basically going to be doing 90% of our alfalfa for us, and I want to slowly be able to do it myself. Not that I don't want him to do it, but you know, it's our homestead. I don't want him to have to do all the hard work and us be able to collect the alfalfa. I want to be able to learn how to do it myself and, you know, be able to maybe help him in the future. So this is a learning experience for me, certainly. I really don't know anything about farming, about alfalfa, and I'm sure that some of you out there are experts at it and just want to reach right through and tell me everything you know about it. But I am learning. So with that in mind, having a 3-point was going to be a huge asset for us. So I was on Facebook Marketplace after I had sold, well, actually it was before I sold the Jeep, but I was looking around and this M came up for sale for $2,000. And I said to myself, wow. And I was looking for Farm All M 3-point. That's what I searched in. And this whole tractor came up on Marketplace because the guy had advertised it as having a 3-point. I said, you know what? A 3-point by itself, yeah, you can get them for cheap, $600, $700, $800. But I have been searching for a year for a 3-point off and on, looking at 3-point stuff because my neighbor across the street, he's been wanting a 3-point for a while. So I've just been kind of looking, and it wasn't until we started looking at planting our own alfalfa that I said, you know what? A 3-point is probably going to be very important. Yes, I have a standard 2-bottom plow that's gravity and so on, but around the farm, putting posts in with a 3-point auger is way easier than trying to drive them by hand. You know, log splitting, a 3-point log splitter, having something with that kind of power that can split all the wood that we have on our property for winter, a huge asset. There's just other things. It's not just those two things. There's other things we can use with a 3-point. Heck, you can even put a backhoe on this, and I'm not joking. There are M's that have 8-foot backhoes on the back of them. You have to counterweight them in the front, but boy, are we lucky to have a front loader, which I will get into in a little bit here. But at any rate, the possibilities are endless. This tractor isn't going to be able to compete with something that's modern and new, but for us, it'll be perfectly fine. Now, I still have a dream of having a Farm All 1566. That is an actual Farm All branded 1566, not a Case International. But an actual Farm All branded 1566. Why does it matter? It really doesn't, but it was the last Farm All that was ever made with the Farm All branding. But anyways, so this will definitely help us a lot. Having that 3-point is a huge asset. So like I said, probably $600, $700. You can probably find one somewhere. Like I said, I've been looking for a while, could not find anything for less than $1,000 used. And these things are roughly about $1,200, $1,300 new for the M. I think they also go on the H as well. But at any rate, you know, you're okay. So you're looking, let's just say around $1,000. And I'm sure that there's somebody in the comments right now that says, well, just down the road, there's somebody selling one for $500. I'm telling you, around my area, there has not been. There has not. There was a gentleman that I got some parts from for that M when I was rebuilding the transmission. He had a 3-point, and he said he wouldn't let it go for anything less than $1,000. So these things are desirable. So pay $2,000 for the tractor, and let's just say that half of it is in the 3-point. So there you go, $1,000 for the tractor. Now let's move on. The front end loader. This is a huge bonus. This is not the main reason I bought the tractor. Again, it was for the 3-point. But this here is a huge bonus. Now, I think it was mainly used for manure, but it doesn't matter. I have already been lifting T-posts with it, which sounds crazy. Crazy simple, that is. It's not that hard to lift a T-post. I've also been lifting some railroad ties. I've been doing some other stuff with it. So far, so good. It's been doing great. You can see that I have the strap here to spread the weight of the load amongst all the forks rather than just one. I don't want everything hanging from one, so I've got it all kind of laid across so that all of the forks will take the load. But anyway, been doing a little bit of work with it. It is muddy because it is March and the snow is all but just about melted. There's a few spots left of snow, but everything's pretty muddy, as you can probably tell by all the mud here. I was driving through there. It's muddy. It's just the way it is this time of year. So I'm not really doing all that much right at this moment, but I did do a few things with it, and it does work really, really well. It does have some power, but this front end loader, you know, I can modify it in the future. I can add forks if I want to, actual forklift forks. I can probably add a cylinder to be able to pitch the bucket here back and forth. I mean, there's other things that I can do, not real important right now, but this was an added bonus. So you're looking at, I don't know, maybe $700-800 for the loader to go on the M. And so basically these two things that we've got here basically paid for the tractor. Also, wheel weights. It has 2 sets of wheel weights on each side. There's about $100 a piece or more just in the wheel weights. The tires are almost brand new. I mean, they've got good tread. Now, they are smaller. These are 12.4 by 38s, whereas those are 15.5 by 38s. I do like the bigger tires a little bit better. These are smaller, so not really a big deal, but I would have liked to see the bigger tires, and I'm probably going to swap out the front end on this one because I'm not planning on taking this through any kind of mud or anything. This isn't going to be the one that's going to be doing the main plowing anymore, but those tires are considerably larger on the front here compared to the tires on this. These are the stock size tires. Those are bigger, and I've already noticed it when I am running around with this thing. Probably has something to do with the added weight on the front. I get it, but these float way better and are able to get through the mud way better than these do. So that might be something that I swap out. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do that or not. All the hydraulics do run off the belly pump, and all the cylinders on this thing are dual action cylinders, yet it's got the belly pump. I don't know anything about hydraulics. I mean, I really do not. This is all brand new stuff to me. I don't know anything about hydraulics. So I am trying to figure out how I can basically take the belly pump and be able to manipulate power up and down for this. Right now it's gravity down. It's not hooked up for that. And the 3-point does have a dual action cylinder on it. I don't know if that's important or not to have that, but it does have it. So there's that. It would be nice to have dual action stuff. Plus things like log splitters. If I do hook up a log splitter and it's got a handle on it, I want to be able to actuate the log splitter in and then out. If it's all gravity, then the cylinder is going to go all the way in, but then I'm going to have to force it out some other way. So there's a few things there that I have to obviously figure out. And again, I don't know anything about hydraulics. I really don't. I really have to dive deep and figure out the belly pump, because it's got two of the what look like to be outlets here. I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't look like these have been used in a while. So I have to get the manual out, and I have to figure out, which side is which, what does what. It's got this international setup right here where it's got the lever here that's that actuates the hydraulics, and then of course this actuates the belly pump. It's got two positions, one here and then one here. This seems to be on, and then obviously this is off, and then this here actually actuates the front end loader. It'll drop it by gravity or lift it, obviously depending on what side. If I'm engaged, then it'll lift it when I pull back. If I'm disengaged when I pull back, it'll lower it through gravity, which is fine. I mean, it seems to work pretty good, but I got to figure out the belly pump. I got to figure out what the deal is with it and how it works and so on like that. So that's just stuff that I am going to have to do some research on. I'm going to have to figure out and go from there. But I would like to be able to have a way to be able to go in and out. I would like to have power both ways, especially handy if this thing does happen to get stuck in a rut. Then I can use the front end to kind of lift it off the ground just a little bit. It won't go down that much further than ground level, but I can go down just a little bit more. It does have a little bit extra here. It's only off about, a foot or so, so I do have some extra here to get it down, and it would be nice to be able to lift up the front end a little bit so that I could get some wood or something underneath there to try to get myself unstuck. That's probably going to happen, whether I like it or not. It's going to happen. So there's that. Now there's some stuff. I already ordered it on Amazon, but the wiring in this is pretty old and wore out. You can see in here, I mean, this is all it's just old. It's just the way it is. I have a whole bunch of 2-aught cable inside, and I ordered all new battery terminals, all new terminal ends, all new wire that's going to go from the distributor and so on. It's going to go up here, all new wiring for the inside. I've got all new stuff that I'm going to be wiring after it stops raining. We're supposed to get rain for the next 2 or 3 days. So once it stops raining, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to replace all the wiring, every bit of it, every single bit of it is going to get all new wiring. One of the issues that I'm having is it doesn't have a very good ground connection. So actually when you pull on the steering wheel a little bit, the entire tree, the column, actually comes back a little bit, and I could probably tighten it up a little bit more and that would probably fix it, but it wants to stall out even when I'm not pulling out on the steering wheel. But it's way worse when I'm actually putting pressure on the steering wheel. So I know that the ends, the grounds, it all needs to be cleaned up and so on. So there's that. Now another thing I'm trying to figure out, this almost looks like this might be the original 6-volt setup. I'm not sure, but I think this is a 12-volt to 6-volt converter. I'm not sure about that. My other M does not have any of this stuff. This was converted to 12 volts a while back. This was converted to 12 volts. So it all runs obviously directly off the battery and so on, and it's got a new alternator, 12 volt and so on. And this, I believe, is 12 volt starter, but 6 volt. The rest of it is 6 volts, I think. And I don't know what the advantages are of going with 12 volts all around. I don't know if it's a better spark. I'm not really sure. If it is, then obviously I'd want to go that route. I don't know how much it is to that conversion. I don't know what's all required. Haven't really looked into it, but it's definitely got a 12 volt, obviously a 12 volt battery. It's got 12 volt LEDs on it. So I'm not really sure about that, but so yeah, I've got a little bit of work to put into it there. Now, one of the things that I'm really not, I'm just complaining, I guess. I'm being whiny. One of the things that I don't like about this so much is that in order for me to operate the 3-point, this lever has to be up. And again, I'm just being whiny. To be perfectly honest, I'm just being whiny. Lift the lever up, then the belly pump will control this cylinder. Put the lever down, and the belly pump will then control the front end loader. It's not really a big deal. I'm just being whiny, but man, it would be so nice to be able to have controls maybe mounted somewhere up here, or near the box, or maybe even somewhere in this area, whatever. It would be nice to be able to have controls so that I can actuate each individual thing. So down would be up, and then, you know, forward or up would be down, you know, back and forth. I used to drive forklift for 20 years, so I'm used to that, where I can lift up, down based on that, and then have another lever for, you know, up, down here, and then another lever for the implements themselves that would come back here, you know, stuff like that. But again, I don't know anything about hydraulics. I don't know if the belly pump can do it. I know the belly pump doesn't have that much pressure. It's only, I think, what, 2 gallons or something, and it, you know, so as far as volume goes, it's low. But I'm not expecting it to do all that much. I'm not going to be lifting, you know, a 40 row disc or anything else like that. That's not what I'm going after. But it would be nice to have controls mounted somewhere in this area so that I can actuate everything without having to reach back and flip. That's just me being whiny. I mean, I know it, I realize it. But it would be really nice to be able to do that. So at any rate, yeah, there's a few things that I would like to do, of course, but it's not really critical. To be perfectly honest, it's not really that critical. It does run and start, but like I said, unfortunately, because of what I think is the grounding issue, I'm just trying to get into neutral here. I think what is the grounding issue is what's causing the issue with the engine not wanting to run perfect. But it does start, it does run just fine. It's just when I'm moving around that it will tend to have a problem. Another thing that's possible, there's like a tick going on in here that my neighbor actually noticed, and I don't know if it's because this thing actually has a muffler on it and I'm used to having a straight pipe and I just couldn't hear it with the straight pipe. There's definitely a little bit of tick here, but it doesn't feel like it's missing or anything else like that, so I don't know. I am going to get all new spark plugs for it though. I don't think the spark plugs, they've probably been replaced, but I'm probably going to just get all new spark plugs, something a little hotter maybe, I'm not sure. We'll just have to see, but yeah, it seems to run pretty good until, like I said, when I'm going to, you know, probably, it's not going to do it now, of course, but I know there's a connection, a ground issue somewhere in here, which causes it to want to stall out. So I'm going to be cleaning up all the grounds, probably clean the surface so that I can connect it directly to ground, better connectors, and re-terminal everything, and just do a once over with all the wiring, and then replace the spark plugs, maybe replace the wires at the same time, I'm not sure. And should run like new. We'll see. It's just a matter of time before this thing is going to be working hard out there in the field, so I definitely have to get this done sooner than later. But yeah, so there you kind of have it. Not really much else to say. But this has been it's been an awesome tractor so far. I've only had it for about a week and a half maybe, and only started really using it yesterday, just kind of putting around, figuring out what it needs and things like that. So but yeah, it's nice to have the 3-point. It's nice to have the front end loader. It's definitely going to get its use, there's no doubt about it. So yeah, at any rate, that's what I'm doing. So got a pair of M's here, and I'm pretty happy about it. This thing is probably going to be my PTO only, so I'll pull, you know, the brush hog, I'll pull that, things like that, but it doesn't have any hydraulics, at least not right now, so it's not like I can use anything with hydraulics with it, which is fine. So like I said, it'll probably just be pulling stuff around, which is perfectly fine with me. So yeah, there you have it. Not really much else to say about it. I'm just happy that we're gonna be able to use that 3-point. We got the loader, So yeah, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice when we get this thing really working hard out in the field. That 10 acres over there, it's gonna be worked. We're gonna get some alfalfa going, and we'll have a lot of help doing it. The tractor will certainly help, but I've got some good friends that are gonna help as well. And the brakes work really well on this thing, by the way. The brakes on that are almost completely gone. These work really nice, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, so all right, well, I'm gonna head inside and warm up a little bit. Been doing some work outside, trying to clean things up, and yeah, it's starting to get a little chilly. It's gonna be raining over the next 2-3 days, so not looking forward to that. And it is what it is. We are still in March, so hopefully here in a few weeks we'll be seeing consistently warmer temperatures, and we'll be able to get out and do some more work. But the first thing I got to do is do all new wiring in this, get it all up to snuff, and then go from there. I would like to be able to convert this to a full 12 volts, but I honestly don't know. I have not done much research on it, so I honestly don't know if it even matters. I really don't. I assume that the starter is 12 volts because the battery is 12 volts. I wouldn't imagine that would be run off of a 12 volt battery if it's a 6 volt starter. That's just what I would assume, but I don't know. I have a lot to learn. I do. I really do. So anyway, all right. Well, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. I do appreciate it. Very much looking forward to getting this thing working. This, just because it's old doesn't mean it's bad. This thing will probably give us years and years of service, and we'll be happy for it. So coming up on what, 80 years now this thing's been around. Crazy to think that, but yeah, 80 years. All right, well, everyone, have a great day and take care.